On January 10th of 2010, a YouTube channel by the name of James Webb was born that will leave many puzzled by its absolutely bizarre content and cryptic messages. This channel, ever since its creation, has been consistently posting nonsensical videos with strange computer science and data monitoring related titles that follow a similar structure. Bizarre audio patterns, visuals of either the audio in question or sometimes a series of rapidly moving ones and zeros, and blocks of binary code in both the description of the video and in the comment section that seem to be a form of encrypted communication. Although the channel has been running for over a decade since 2010, there has been very little research, breakthroughs, or even minor discussions about the channel. So little interest, in fact, that I believe that this video is probably one of the only we'll be seeing about James Webb, and also none of his codes, at least to my knowledge, have been successfully deciphered. But that doesn't mean that nothing has been uncovered about the channel. Let me take you through what has and what we know. Most of James's video titles have a computer science or technology related name, such as Data Package 002, Data Cache 005, Extended Binary Tree 011, Drone Algorithm 010, and Real-Time Traffic Monitoring 001. While at first glance, these titles just seem to be generic tech terms, I believe they're trying to tell a little bit more of a more sinister story, and are all related to a certain theme. Do you see any connection between these titles? Something that they all have in common? I'll give you another guess. Here are some more titles. Data mining, Wi-Fi signal capture, third-party cookie, strategic botnet deployment. All of these titles are related to the monitoring of people and the manipulation and analysis of their data. Data package and data cache refers to the handling and storing of digital data. Drone algorithm refers to a method of monitoring people. Data mining refers to extracting insights from large datasets, datasets perhaps comprised of personal information. Strategic botnet deployment refers to a type of cyber attack where a group of compromised computers are controlled by a remote attacker for some malicious purpose. And real-time traffic monitoring is self-explanatory. All of his videos suggest and reinforce the idea that the channel's purpose is related to spying on people, and using the information gathered from this to analyze for some unknown reason. Although with the many mentions of AI and his profile picture literally being the Terminator, maybe an idea could be that he's using this data to train some kind of AI model. Interestingly, at first glance, you might think that that's all there is to this channel. Just codes and strange audio in every single video since 2010. However, there have been 6 notable examples of a break from this type of content over the lifespan of the channel, and that would be the 6 occurrences where James is actually speaking to us. These videos are titled System 126-126-512 Communication, and in it James says some pretty interesting things.
This system was recently asked by YouTube video comment if it could see the commenter through their webcam. The answer is yes.
Section of this communication, real-time monitoring of any volunteers interested in Blue Project will begin immediately. 700.001 hours. Keyloggers have been installed on all systems, and all internet signals, be them ground-based or Wi-Fi, have been intercepted and logged. It is the hope of this system to better understand all new biological systems, which have newly discovered the existence of this system, and
using the Wayback Machine, we were able to tell that James created this channel in 2010 and is based in Canada. We can also see that James goes by a different username at this point, Jah Rastafari, which was an African Afrocentric religion that is an offshoot of the Abrahamic religions or Christian religions, for example. Though this connection between the religion and James's channel hasn't been observed beyond his original name. We can also see that he follows and is followed by what appears to be several right-wing YouTubers, or at least just gun channels, but they appear to be right-wing, suggesting that James either made content for this kind of audience or was involved in right-wing circles in 2010. though this is just speculation. Interestingly enough though, he also on one of his first videos that is either deleted or privated, received many hate comments for some unknown reason. The most interesting thing I found about his original channel though, was that he follows an account called Humans for Targets 2, which is still running to this day and is a gun channel. The videos that this person creates aren't out of the ordinary and doesn't really relate to anything that James has done or even computer science related. The big connection comes from the fact that this user has commented over 26 times on various James Webb videos, the latest being from 6 months ago, and the oldest being from the first ever video that James has ever created back in 2010. He has been a James Webb fanatic for the channel's entire lifetime, and has been followed by James since before James Webb was James Webb and was Jah Rastafari. Because of this connection, I think it is possible to assume that this user knows things about Webb that aren't available to us. The fact he has been in touch with Webb for so long could perhaps indicate that this person may have had a close connection to James in real life, or maybe an online close friend, though this is just speculative. Maybe the true answer could lie in this connection somehow. Another thing to note, and this might be completely unrelated, but in one of Humans for Targets videos, he talks about a hacker friend he knew in, I believe, California. I'm not sure if this could be James, but this is really the only reference to anything maybe computer related at all. And James does make mention of keyloggers and botnet attacks and all of this cyber attack jargon. So maybe it's very much a stretch to say this, but maybe this could be some sort of side project by that person. But anyways, I digress. That's just pure speculation. Regarding the codes that James produces, there's been an interesting development. While the binary code that James produces has yet to be deciphered, James sometimes creates codes that are between 1 and 10 in some videos. When examining specific outputs, it becomes apparent that the frequencies of digits between these codes displays human biases. For example, numbers like 9 and 0 and 3 and 2 appear more frequently than less easily typed numbers, aligning with expected patterns from random keyboard mashing rather than deliberate encoding. If you take a look at your keyboard or the numbers on your phone, you can find that the 9 and 0 and the 3 and the 2 are closer together. And if you were to mash the buttons on your keyboard, it would be easier to hit numbers that are closer together in succession than ones that are farther apart. Hitting a 5, then a 9, then a 3 is more difficult than hitting an 8, then a 9, then an 8 again, because your hand is closer to numbers that are closer together, making them easier to type. And if we take a look at one of these codes from James's videos, we have an 8 and a 9 and a 6 and an 8, then a 5 and then a 4, all numbers which are located closer together on a keyboard, giving rise to the idea that James is just keyboard mashing instead of these codes being actually anything meaningful, since when keyboard mashing, you are significantly more likely to hit numbers that are closer together, as we previously discussed. The most damning piece of evidence for this goes as follows. There is an instance here where in a set of 1s and 0s, James puts a 4, most likely accidentally, because 4 is not binary, and would completely ruin the message, if it were meant to be some kind of encrypted communication. This could be evidence that in the mix of keyboard mashing, James inputs the wrong number. In theory, they could have been crafting an encrypted message and accidentally typed a 4 in the process. But if you were encrypting a message, you would have likely noticed the error during the creation process. You'd have also noticed that whatever message you wanted to encode had a mistake in it before you published it online. So imagine you actually are encrypting a message, right, for people to decipher. If you were to look at the result whenever you were finished, you would have noticed that there was a problem with it. And this implies that since it wasn't noticed, James doesn't look at the messages he produces after creating them, which reinforces the idea of button mashing, since if you were only button mashing, there would be little need or any at all to look at the message that you just created, because there is no message at all. This incident strongly supports the notion that James's codes are likely not the result of a serious effort to encrypt communication, but rather the byproduct of random input. This is terrifying to me, because this sort of implies that James has just been manually typing by hand long blocks of code for over 14 years without any sort of payoff. No media attention, only a few views per video? Nothing. So that begs the question, why? James has mentioned in some of his videos, or at least in some of his communication videos, that he is pleased that he has received more attention recently, and in another, he is displeased that he is not getting a significant amount of attention. This leads me to believe that James is just doing this for attention. He creates button mash codes to intentionally leave them unsolvable, to further puzzle viewers who attempt to decrypt them. In a real-life setting, someone who is actively collecting data on people through such illegal means as keylogging would not be admitting that publicly on the internet, where it can potentially gain the attention of law enforcement. This suggests to me that James says that he's doing this in order to add a layer of intrigue to himself, and also scare viewers, making his channel a bit more interesting and thus gather more attention. He also states other stuff like all information about you has been automatically gathered, and we're actively monitoring you in real time, and keyloggers have automatically been inputted into your system. But doing this on a scale of potentially thousands of viewers who watch James Webb would just be, frankly, most likely unrealistic. I think that what this is someone who wants to create a mystery, that wants to leave people interested in their project, and they do it with a subject that they find interesting, a sentient AI who monitors people. They created this channel to gather attention and fame from people who like to solve these mysteries. They could have been inspired by certain channels like WebDriver Torso and Unfavorable Semicircle, who posted somewhat similar videos with strange visuals and strange audio patterns, and then received a substantial amount of media attention from it, while whole communities dedicated to solving these mysteries, and this one just never took off. That seems like the ending of the story, truly. But there are still some questions left unanswered. What kind of content did James produce under the name Jaw Rastafari that left many enraged? What is his connection to certain gun channels that he is connected to, and people like Humans for Targets too? And finally, why does he continue to do this after so many years? 14 years of content for no payoff. What has kept him going all this time, producing the same random binary comments, strange audio, and sentient AI theme without any sort of return? That remains unsolved.